Well, you could imagine what happened next. The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had now returned. The party lasted the entire week, and honestly, I don't remember much of it. Dreams came true all over the place. That guy went on to become the most famous concert pianist in the world, if you can believe it. Well, you can imagine what happened next. The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had now returned. The party lasted the entire week, and honestly, I don't remember much of it. Dreams came true all over the place. That guy went to become the most famous concert pianist in the world, if you can believe it. And this guy will eventually find true love. As for this guy, well, I assume he's happy. Well, you can imagine what happened next. The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had now returned. The party lasted an entire week. Well, you could imagine what happened next. The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had now returned. The party lasted an entire week, and honestly, I don't remember much of it. Dreams came true all over the place. That guy went to bingo. Dreams came true all over the place.
The party lasted an entire week, and honestly, I don't
remember much of it. Dreams came true all over the place. That guy went on to.
The party lasted an entire
week, and honestly, I don't remember much of it. Dreams came true all over the place. That guy went on to become the most famous concert pianist in the world, if you can believe it. Well, you can imagine what happened next. The kingdom rejoiced, for the last princess had now returned. The party lasted an entire week, and honestly, I don't remember much of it. Dreams came true all over the place. That guy went on to become the famous concert. That guy went on to become the. Well, you could imagine what happened next. The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had now returned. The party lasted the entire week, and honestly, I don't remember much of it. Dreams came true all over the place. That guy went on to the most famous concert pianist in the world. That guy went on to become the most famous. That guy went on to become the most famous concert pianist in the world, if you can believe it. Well, you can imagine what happened next. The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had now returned. The party lasted the entire week, and honestly, I don't remember much of it. Dreams came true all over the place. That guy went on to become the most famous. That guy went on to become the most famous concert pianist. The most famous concert pianist in the world. Well, you can imagine what happened next. The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had now returned. The party lasted the entire week, and honestly, I don't remember much of it. Dreams came true all over the place. That guy went on to become the most famous concert pianist in the world, if you can believe it. And this guy will eventually find true love. As for this guy, well, I assume he's happy. He's never told me otherwise. Thanks to Maximus, crime in the kingdom disappeared almost overnight, as did most of the apples. Pascal never changed. At last, Rapunzel was home, and she finally had a real family. She was a princess worth waiting for.
Beloved by all, she led her kingdom with all the grace and wisdom before her.
That her parents did before. Parents did before. Her parents did before her. Her parents did before. 왜 이렇게 발음이 어렵지? Her parents did before. Her parents did before her. Her parents did before her. Her parents did before her. Did before. Did. Her parents did before. Did before her. Did before her. Did before her. Her parents did before her. Did before her. Her parents did before her. Her parents did before her. Her parents did before her. Well, you can imagine what happened next. The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had now returned. The party lasted an entire life, an entire week. Well, you can imagine what happened next. The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had now returned. The party lasted an entire week, and honestly, I don't remember much of it. Dreams came true all over the place. That guy went on to become the most famous concert pianist in the world, if you can believe it. And this guy, well, he eventually found true love. As for this guy, I assume he's happy. He's never told me otherwise. Thanks to Maximus, crime the kingdom disappeared almost overnight. And as did most of the apples. Pascal never changed. At last, Rapunzel was home and she finally had a real family. She was princess worth waiting for. Loved by all, she led her kingdom with all grace and wisdom that her parents did before her. And as for me, well, I started going by Eugene again. Stopped thieving and basically turned it all around. But I know what the big question is. Well, you can imagine what happened next. The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had now returned. The party lasted an entire week, and honestly, I don't remember much of it. Dreams came true all over the place. That guy went on to became the most famous concert pianist in the world.
The party lasted an entire week, and honestly,
well, you can imagine what happened next. The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had now returned. The party lasted an entire week, and honestly, I don't remember much of it. Dreams came true all over the place. That guy went on to become the most famous concert pianist in the world, if you can believe it. And this guy, well, eventually found true love. As for this guy, well, I assume he's happy. He's never told me otherwise. Thanks to Maximus, crime in the kingdom disappeared all overnight. Disappeared almost overnight. Well, you could imagine what happened next. The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had now returned. The party lasted an entire week, and honestly, I don't remember much of it. Dreams came true all over the place. That guy went on to become the most famous concert pianist in the world, if you can believe it. And this guy, well, he eventually found true love. As for this guy, well, I assume he's happy. He's never told otherwise. Thanks to Maximus, crime in the kingdom disappeared almost overnight. As did most of the apples. Well, you can imagine what happened next. The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had now returned. The party lasted an entire week, and honestly, I don't remember much of it. Dreams came true all over the place. That guy went on to become the most famous concert pianist in the world, if you can believe it. And this guy, well, he eventually found true love. As for this guy, well, I assume he's happy. He's never told me otherwise. Thanks to Maximus, crime in the kingdom disappeared almost overnight. As Let's eat most of the apples. Pascal never change. At last, Rapunzel was home, and she finally had a real family. She was princess worth waiting for. Beloved by all, she led her kingdom with the all grace and wisdom that her parents did before her. And as for me, well, I started going by Eugene again, stopped thieving, and basically turned it all over. But I know that what the big question is. Did Rapunzel and I ever get married? Well, I am pleased to tell you. Well, I'm pleased to tell you. Well, I'm pleased to tell you that after years and years of asking, I finally see. Well, you could imagine what happened next. The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had now returned. The party lasted an entire week, and honestly, I don't remember much of it. Dreams came true all over the place. That guy went on to become the most famous concert pianist in the world, if you can believe it. And this guy, well, eventually find true love. As for this guy, well, I assume he's happy. He's never told me otherwise. Thanks to Maximus, the crime in the kingdom disappeared almost overnight. As did most of the apples. Pascal never changed. At last, Rapunzel was home, and she finally had a real family. She was princess worth waiting for. Beloved by all, she led her kingdom with all grace and wisdom that her parents did before her. And as for me, well, I started going by Eugene again, stopped thieving, and basically turned all over all around it, but I know what the big question is. Did Rapunzel and I ever get married? Well, I'm pleased to tell you that after years and years of asking, I finally said yes. Eugene. All right. I asked her.
And we're living happily ever after.
And real lively.
Asking.
I finally said yes. Eugene. All right. I asked her.
And we're living happily.
And we are living happily ever after.
Yes, we are.
Well, you can imagine what happened next. The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had now returned. The party lasted an entire week, and honestly, I don't remember much of it. Dreams came true all over the place. That guy went on to become the most famous concert pianist in the world. That guy went on to become the most famous concert pianist in the world. Well, you can imagine what happened next. The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had now returned. The party lasted an entire week, and honestly, I don't remember much of it. Dreams came true all over the place. That guy went on to become the most famous concert pianist in the world, if you can believe it. And this guy, well, he eventually find true love. As for this guy, well, I assume he's happy. He's never told me otherwise. Thanks to Maximus, crime in the kingdom disappeared almost overnight. As did most of the apples. Pascal never changed. At last, Rapunzel was home, and she finally had a real family. She was princess worth waiting for. Beloved by all, she led her kingdom with all grace and wisdom that her parents did before her. Well, you can imagine what happened next. The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had now returned. The party lasted an entire week, and honestly, I don't remember much of it. Dreams came true all over the place. That guy went on to become the most famous concert pianist in the world, if you can believe it. The party lasted an entire week. Well, you can imagine what happened next. The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had now returned. The party lasted an entire week, and honestly, I don't remember much of it. Dreams came true all over the place. That guy went on to become the most famous concert pianist in the world, if you can believe it. And this guy, well, he eventually find true love. As for this guy, well, I assume he's happy. He's never told me otherwise. Thanks to Maximus, crime in the kingdom disappeared almost overnight, as did most of the apples. Pascal never changed. At last, Rapunzel was home, and she finally had a real family. She was a princess worth waiting for. Beloved by all, she led her kingdom with all grace and wisdom that her parents did her before.
And as for
Well, you can imagine what happened next. The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had now returned. The party lasted an entire week, and honestly, I don't remember much of it. Dreams came true all over the place. That guy went on to... 왜 입에서 안 나오지? 약간... Well, you can imagine what happened next. The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had now returned. The party lasted an entire week, and honestly, I don't remember much of it. Dreams came true all over the place. That guy went on to become the most famous concert pianist in the world, if you can believe it. And this guy, well, he eventually find true love. He eventually find true love. 됐다, 이제 진짜 됐다. Well, you can imagine what happened next. The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had now returned. The party lasted an entire week, and honestly, I don't remember much of it. Dreams came true all over the place. That guy went on to... 왜 틀린 거지? Dreams came true all over the place. Well, you can imagine what happened next. The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had now returned. The party lasted an entire life,
honestly, I don't remember.
entire week. Well, you can imagine what happened next. The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had now returned. The party lasted an entire week, and honestly, I don't remember much of it. Dreams came true all over the place. That guy went. Dreams came true all over the place. 왜 되는데 왜 자꾸? Well, you can imagine what happened next. The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had now returned. The party lasted an entire week, and honestly, I don't remember much of it. Dreams came true all over the place. That guy went on to become the most famous concert pianist. Well, you can imagine what happened next. The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had now returned. The party lasted an entire week, and honestly, I don't remember much of it. Dreams came true all over the place. That guy went on to become the most famous concert pianist in the world, if you can believe it. And this guy, well, he eventually find true love. As for this guy, well, I assume he's happy. He's never told me otherwise. Thanks to Maximus, crime in the kingdom disappeared almost overnight, as did most of the apples. Pascal never changed. At last, well, you can imagine what happened next. The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had now returned. The party lasted an entire week, and honestly, I don't remember much of it. Dreams came true all over the place. That guy on the... Well, you can imagine what happened next. The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had now returned. The party lasted an entire week, and honestly, I don't remember much of it. Dreams came true all over the place. That guy went on to become the most famous concert pianist in the world, if you can believe it. And this guy, well, he eventually found true love. As for this guy, well, I assume he's happy. He's never told me otherwise. Thanks to Maximus, crime in the kingdom disappeared almost overnight, as did most of the apples. Pascal never changed. At last, Rapunzel was home, and she finally had a real family. She was a princess worth waiting for. Beloved by all, she led her kingdom with all grace and wisdom that her parents did before her. And as for me, well, I started going by Eugene again, stopped thieving, and basically turned it all around. But I know what the big question is. Did Rapunzel and I ever get married? Well, I'm pleased to tell you that after years and years of asking, I finally said yes. Eugene. Alright. I asked her.
And we're living happily,
happily and ever.
Yes, we are.
Well, you can imagine what happened next. The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had now returned. The party lasted an entire week, and honestly, I don't remember much of it. Dreams came true all over the place. That guy went on to become the most famous concert pianist in the world, if you can believe it. And this guy, well, he eventually found true love. As for this guy, well, I assume he's happy. He's never told me otherwise. Thanks to Maximus, crime in the kingdom disappeared almost overnight, as did most of the apples. Pascal never changed. At last, Rapunzel was home, and she finally had a real family. She was a princess worth waiting for. Beloved by all, she led her kingdom with all grace and wisdom that her parents did before her. And as for me, well, I started going by Eugene again, stopped thieving, and basically turned it all around. But I know what the big question is. 어디야? Stop thieving and basically turned it all around. Turned it all around. But I know what the big question is. Turned it all around. Thieving and basically turned it all around. 됐다. 진짜 됐다. Well, you can imagine what happened next. The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had now returned. The party lasted an entire week, and honestly, I don't remember much of it. Dreams came true all over the place. That guy went on to become the most famous concert pianist in the world, if you can believe it. And this guy, well, he eventually found true love. As for this guy, well, you can imagine what happened next. The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had now returned. The party lasted an entire week, and honestly, I don't remember much of it. Dreams came true all over the place. That guy went on to become the most famous concert pianist in the world, if you can believe it. And this guy, well, he eventually found true love. As for this guy, well, I assume he's happy. He's never told me otherwise. Thanks to Maximus, crime in the kingdom disappeared almost all overnight,
as did most of the apples.
Well, you can imagine what happened next. The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had now returned. The party lasted an entire week, and honestly, I don't remember much of it. Dreams came true all over the place, and that guy went on to become the most famous concert pianist in the world, if you can believe it. And this guy, well, he eventually found true love. As for this guy, well, I assume he's happy. He's never told me otherwise. Thanks to Maximus, crime in the kingdom disappeared almost overnight, as did most of the apples. Pascal never changed. At last, Rapunzel was home, and she finally had a real family. She was a princess worth waiting for. Beloved by all, she left her kingdom with all grace and wisdom that her parents did before her. And as for me, I started going by Eugene again, stopped living and basically turned it all around, but I know what the big question is. Did Rapunzel and I ever get married? Well, I'm pleased to tell you that after years and years of asking, I finally said yes. Eugene. Alright. I asked her,
And
we're living happily and ever after.
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
Well,
You can imagine what happened next. The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had now returned. The party lasted an entire week, and honestly, I don't remember much of it. Dreams came true all over the place, and that guy went on to become the most famous concert pianist in the world, if you can believe it. And this guy, well, he eventually found true love. As for this guy, well, I assume he's happy. He's never told me otherwise. Thanks to Maximus crime, the kingdom disappeared almost overnight. As did most of the apples. Pascal
never changed.
never changed. At last,
Rapunzel
was home, and she finally had a real family.
She was a
princess worth waiting for.
Beloved by
Beloved
all,
by
she
all,
led her
she
kingdom
led
with all the grace and wisdom that her
갑자기 하다가 웃음 나가지고 뭐한 거지? 그걸 왜 못 맞췄지? Well,
you can
you can imagine what happened next.
The
The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had now returned.
The party
lasted an entire week, and honestly, I don't remember most of it. Dreams came true all over the place. That guy
become the most famous concert.
Well, you can imagine what happened next. The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had now returned. The party lasted an entire week, and honestly, I don't remember much of it. Dreams came true all over the place. That guy went on to become the most famous concert pianist in the world. You can believe it. And this guy, well, he eventually found true love. As for this guy, well, I assume he's happy. He's never told me otherwise. Thanks to Maximus crime, the kingdom disappeared almost overnight. As did most of the apples. Pascal never changed. At last, Rapunzel was home, and she finally had a real family. She was a princess worth waiting for. Beloved by all, she led her kingdom with all grace and wisdom that her parents did before her. And as for me, well, I started going by Eugene again, stopped living and basically turned it all around, but I know the big question is, did Rapunzel and I ever make a marriage? Well, I'm pleased to tell you that after years... 왜 안 되지? Did Rapunzel and I get... Did Rapunzel and I ever get married? I ever get married? Did Rapunzel and I get... Did Rapunzel and I ever get... Did Rapunzel and I ever get married? Did Rapunzel and I get married? Did Rapunzel and I ever get... Did Rapunzel and I ever get married? Well, I'm pleased to tell you that after years and years and And I'm pleased to tell you that after years and years of asking, I finally did this. 이젠 진짜 됐다. Well, you can imagine what happened next. The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had now returned. The party lasted an entire week, and honestly, I don't remember much of it. Dreams came true all over the place, and that guy went on to become the most famous concert pianist in the world, if you can believe it. And this guy, well, he eventually found true love. As for this guy, well, I assume he's happy. He's never told me otherwise. Thanks to Maximus, crime in the kingdom disappeared almost overnight, as did most of the apples. Pascal never changed. At last, Rapunzel was home, and she finally had a real family. She was a princess worth waiting for. Beloved by all, she led her kingdom with all grace and wisdom that her parents did before her. And as for me, well, I started going by Eugene again, stopped living and basically turned it all around, but I know the big question is, did Rapunzel and I ever get married? Well, I'm pleased to tell you that after years and years and years랑 예스킹 왜 이렇게 많이 해? 한 번만 하면 되지. Well, you can imagine what happened next. The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had now returned. The party lasted an entire week, and honestly, I don't remember much of it. Dreams came true all over the place. That guy went on to become the most famous concert pianist in the world, if you can believe it. And this guy, well, he eventually found true love. As for this guy, well, I assume he's happy. He's never told me otherwise. Thanks to Maximus, crime in the kingdom disappeared almost overnight, as did most of the apples. Pascal never changed. At last, Rapunzel was home, and she finally had a real family. She was princess worth waiting for. Beloved by all, she led her kingdom with all grace and wisdom that her parents did before her. And as for me, well, I started going by Eugene again, stopped living and basically turned it all around, but I know what the big question is. Did Rapunzel and I get whatever? 틀려도 된다는 마인드로 이렇게 하면 이렇게 돼. Well, you can imagine what happened next. The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had now returned. The party lasted an entire week, and honestly, I don't remember much of it. Dreams came true all over the place. That guy went on to become the most famous concert pianist in the world, if you can believe it. And this guy, well, he eventually found true love. As for this guy, well, I assume he's happy. He's never told me otherwise. Thanks to Maximus, crime in the kingdom disappeared almost overnight, as did most of the apples. Pascal never changed. At last, Rapunzel was home, and she finally had a real family. She was princess worth waiting for. Beloved by all, she led her kingdom with the all grace and wisdom that her parents did before her. And as for me, well, I started going by Eugene again, stopped thieving and basically turned it all around, but I know what the big question is. Did Rapunzel and I ever get married? Well, I'm pleased to tell you that after years and years... 왜 안 나오지? 미치겠네. Well, you can imagine what happened next. The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had returned. Well, you can imagine what happened next. The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had now returned. The party lasted an entire week, and honestly, I don't remember much of it. Dreams came true all over the place. That guy went on to become the most famous concert pianist in the world, if you can believe it. And this guy, well, he eventually found true love. As for this guy, well, I assume he's happy. He's never told me otherwise. Max moves and big whim thanks to it. Well, you can imagine what happened next. The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had now returned. The party lasted an entire week, and honestly, I don't remember much of it. Dreams came true all over the place. That guy went to become the most famous concert in the world, if you can believe it. Well, you can imagine what happened next. The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had now returned. The party lasted an entire week, and honestly, I don't remember much of it. Dreams came true all over the place. That guy went on to become the most famous concert in the world. Concert pianist. The party. Well, you can imagine what happened next. The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had now returned. The party lasted an entire week, and honestly, I don't read it. Well, you can imagine what happened next. The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had now returned. The party lasted an entire week, and honestly, I don't remember most of it. Dreams come true all over the place. That guy went on to become the most famous concert pianist in the world, if you can believe it. And this guy, well, he eventually found true love. As for this guy, well, I assume he's happy. He's never told me otherwise. Thanks to Max moves a crime, the kingdom disappeared almost overnight. As did most of the apples. Pascal never changed. At last, Rapunzel was home, and she finally had a real family. She was a princess and was waiting for. Beloved by all, she left her kingdom with all grace and wisdom that her parents did before her. And as for me, well, I started going by Eugene again, stiff living and basically turned it all around. But I know what the big question is. Did Rapunzel and I married? Well, I'm pleased to tell you that after years and years of asking. 왜 에버리 안 나오지? Did Rapunzel and I ever get? Did Rapunzel and I? Did Rapunzel and I get? 아니, did Rapunzel and I ever get? 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 Did Rapunzel and I ever get married? Well, you can imagine what happened next. The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had now returned. The party lasted an entire week, and honestly, I don't remember much of it. Dreams came true all over the place. That guy went on to become the most famous concert pianist in the world, if you can believe it. And this guy, well, he eventually found true love. As for this guy, well, I assume he's happy. He's never told me otherwise. Thanks to Max moves a crime, the kingdom disappeared almost overnight. As did most of the apples. Pascal never changed. At last, Rapunzel was home, and she finally had a real family. She was princess and was waiting for. Beloved by all, she left her kingdom with all grace and wisdom that her parents did before her. And as for me, well, I started going by Eugene again, stopped thieving and basically turned it all around. But I know what the big question is. Did Rapunzel and I ever get married? Well, I'm pleased to tell you that after years and years of asking, I finally said yes.
Eugene.
All right.
I
asked her,
And we're living
and we're living happily
ever
ever after.
Yes, we
Yes, we
are.
are.
Well,
Well, you can imagine what happened next.
The
The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had now returned.
The party
lasted an entire week, and honestly, I don't remember much of it. Dreams came true all over the place. That guy went on to become the most famous concert pianist in the world.
You can believe it.
You can believe it.
And
And this guy, well, he eventually found true love.
As for this guy, well, I assume he's happy. He's never told me otherwise. Thanks
Thanks to Maximus, the crime in the kingdom disappeared almost overnight. As did most of the apples. Pascal never changed.
At
At last,
Rapunzel
was home, and she finally had a real family. She was a princess worth waiting for. Beloved by all, she led her kingdom with all the grace and wisdom that her parents did before her.
And
And as for me, well, I started going by Eugene again and stopped thieving and basically turned it all around, but I know what the big question is.
Did
Did Rapunzel 미치겠네. Well,
you
can imagine what happened next.
The
The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had now returned.
The party
lasted an entire week, and honestly, I don't remember much of it. Dreams came true all over the place. That guy 타이밍 놓쳤어. Well, you can imagine what happened next. The kingdom rejoiced, for the lost princess had now returned. The party lasted an entire week, and honestly, I don't remember much of it. Dreams came true all over the place. That guy went on to become the most famous concert pianist in the world, if you can believe it. And this guy, well, he eventually found true love. As for this guy, well, I assume he's happy.
He's never
He's
told me
never told
otherwise.
me otherwise.
Thanks to
Thanks to Maximus, the crime in the kingdom disappeared almost overnight. As did most of the apples. Pascal never changed. At last, Rapunzel was home, and she finally had a real family. She was princess was waiting for. Beloved by all, she led her kingdom with all the grace and wisdom that her parents did before her.
And
And as for me, well, I started going by Eugene again, stopped thieving and basically turned it all around, but I know what the big question is. Did Rapunzel and I ever get married?
Well, I'm pleased to
Well,
tell you
I'm pleased to tell you that after years and years of asking, I finally said yes. Eugene. All right.
I
I asked her.
And we're
And
living
we're living happily
ever
ever after.
Yes, we
Yes,
are.
we are. Oh!